Hey everybody, good Monday morning to you. It is great to be back with you all again here on this beautiful beach in Surfside, California. A little bit breezy. I've got my back to the wind. You may have some microphone popping going on this morning. Sometimes that is inevitable when you have a breeze like this. The ocean doesn't look really too bad, and this is going to be the worst of it. We're going to start coming down from now. In fact, there's some areas like the Channel Islands that are pretty much unfishable today, but that weather starts to straighten out tomorrow. And then it gets pretty darn nice when we start moving toward the weekend. I'll talk to you about that because we have our Endeavor trip, our Friedman Adventures Endeavor trip coming up Wednesday night. That should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing all of you. I'll be talking about that trip. We'll talk bluefin tuna down in San Diego and Ensenada. Got a report from Loreto. We got a report from Puerto Vallarta. We've got it all for you. You know what time it is, my friends. It's time for the morning briefing and a swig of this coffee because it's chilly down here this morning. Oh, delicious. In fact, this coffee has gotten pretty cold here in about 5 minutes. It's great to be with you all. Many of you know Scott Buchert. He is a deckhand on many of the sport boats in Southern California, has been for many, many years. I've known Scott for over 20 years. Last night I spent a lovely time with him and his mom and his dad and his aunt for Scott's birthday. Really a memorable time. And Scott is on the Pride this morning out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro sport fishing. Hopefully he is going to come up with a bunch of halibut and sea bass because the Pride has been red hot. And I have no doubt that Sean Roberts, well, I have no doubt he's going to put in about 190% effort. We'll see if they can do it, see if this weather has settled down enough. And as I say, as you look out there, it's really not that bad at all. There's a bunch of dolphin chewing up all my yellowfin croaker along the surf here. I see them jumping out of the water and raising all kinds of heck here this morning. And there's some birds picking, so that's always a good sign. All right, let me take you, I think it's Puerto Vallarta because Slammin' Sammy sent me a video. This guy catches a 240-pound YFT, big yellowfin tuna, Marla's Sport Fishing, M-A-R-L-A-S Sport Fishing, 240-pounder, but the feat was accomplished on a spinning reel. So let's remove the stigma from fishing with spinning reels. I know a lot of you are die-hard conventional guys. I'm one of them, and I get it, but spinning reels, they're just not the same anymore. They can exert a tremendous amount of drag pressure now, and they can handle some of these really big fish, as you see in that. Tim Marquez is one of the greatest guys you'll ever want to meet. Tim is such a gentleman. When I put out the call, hey, we need people to show up at a warehouse in La Mirada and separate clothing for our efforts to send all of those goods to Mexico, Tim was there and worked all day long with us. Great guy, got a great heart. He is down in Loreto, Baja California Sur, and he's having a dream trip. He was out for his first day on a panga yesterday, ended up with 10 yellows, nice big fat yellowtail down there in Loreto, and Tim had 6 of those fish. So you know what, good things come back to good people. Tim, I'm so happy you shared that with me. I hope you're having fun down there in that neck of the woods. All right, let's get up here to the bluefin tuna area. There's been some big bluefin down in Ensenada, Baja California Norte, mixed in with that smaller grade fish. It needs to get more consistent, however. It does not have the consistency that it did, and I think you can chalk that up to water temperature. I really do. The water is way cooler this year. This is a different animal we're dealing with. That's why I'm calling for albacore this year. I know I've called for them the past 2 years also, and we had that kind of cooling going on, but not like this. This is completely different. And those cool water years, those 2 years where I said we would have albacore here, I'm telling you, those were perfect years for the anchovy to make a comeback also. And now we're starting to see a lot of anchovy at many of the bait receivers. That is the favorite feed for albies. So I won't get carried away too far on that, but we are dealing with cool water, and I think that has something to do with the inconsistency with regard to the bluefin tuna. Down there in Ensenada, all those guys can fill your little panga up, or your big panga up, with plenty of rockfish, great eating rockfish. If they have to fall back on something, they're catching lings and reds and all kinds of good stuff down there. Many of you get on a do or die mission and want to go bluefin only. I'm one of those guys. Let's go game fishing, and then you dedicate your entire time to that. It is inconsistent, and now you add to it the weather's choppy. It looks like it's coming down here locally, but offshore it's still a little bit breezy and choppy, and that has created adverse conditions, let's put it that way. And the same thing can be said for the San Diego fleet. It has really slowed down in San Diego. It is a temporary situation. There's too much bluefin around. It's just off the bite right now, and the choppy weather just makes it more difficult to work in. There's been some real clunkers down in San Diego, so there's been some very slow fishing. You know, maybe a fish per rod, down below a fish per rod. Some guys strike out entirely, you know, so hopefully that's going to get back on the bite again. We'll continue to monitor it for you very, very close. I think a lot of it has to do with the choppy weather, and you combine that with the cooler ocean water temperatures this year, and it's a recipe for a slowdown on the BFT. And then, you know, there's the other thing. Bluefin are just fickle. They just go off the bite and don't bite that well at times, and I think we're seeing some of that, so we'll continue to watch it for you very, very closely. The San Diego was out yesterday. That's a boat that leaves in the morning, comes back that very same day. They had 34 anglers for 36 yellowtail on the kelps, 10 bonita, and they said the weather was choppy, making things difficult. The nighttime bites last night, I didn't ascertain anything really outstanding. Sounded like it was a tough night for the most part, but dropping down those 200 to 350 gram knife type jigs is a great way to get it done. And 3 rods still really necessary. And now that it's even more finicky, guys are suggesting 25-pound fly line baits. A lot of times they'll say 30 to 40, but I'd say 25 to 40-pound rod. You want to have that with fluorocarbon, number 2 treble hook. That's what you're going to fly line with. Choose a good hot bait. And then you want something like a 50 to 60-pound outfit, and you can throw those Daiwa lures, 100 to 150 gram lures, and also fish the sinker rig. Other times you're going to want something like an 80 to 130-pound 2-speed reel. That's going to be for, you can sinker rig fish that, but that's going to be for your nighttime knife jig fishing, and that really will make a big difference to your success. So slower fishing, no question about it. Hopefully it'll bounce back, and I think once this weather straightens out, and we're going to be on the mend right now in terms of the weather, it should start to bite. Gorgeous morning, sun's just starting to come up here in Southern California. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that bell and you'll be notified when there's new content, and share these videos if you are enjoying the morning briefing. And of course tonight we'll be live from Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California with Sam De La Torre. We're live at 6 p.m. You can shoot questions in. Sam will run all over the tackle shop for you. Tackle shop confessions tonight. Sam will run all over and grab the reels that you're talking about, or grab the jig that you're talking about, show it to you, and show you how to fish with it. He's really great on that show, so that should be a lot of fun. The Amigo has a day-and-a-half trip this weekend. Don't forget that. And Chef Jason is actually on the Pride this morning. They're getting ready to shove off right now. They're on a reverse day-and-a-half trip, and Chef Jason will be on the Amigo cooking up a storm, but he's already ready to sing happy birthday to Scott and have some fun with him. So Amigo has a day-and-a-half trip this weekend. All right, taking a look up and down the coast, there has been spectacular halibut fishing this year. I mean, it has been really, really good. You can't beat the halibut bite this year. It's been reverse dropper loop. That's the rig. If you're not familiar on how to tie it, when you walk on the boat, make sure you talk to a crew member. Reverse dropper loop. 4-ounce torpedo's been best for most cases. However, that'll change with wind and current and depth that you're fishing. That works really good in 50 feet of water when there's not a whole lot of wind and current. So keep that in mind. Hopefully the guys will get back to that. There's been a few big yellows taken. The Fury down there, sport fishing's had some nice big forky, so is the Thunderbird. There's been smattering of that at our local islands, in addition to that halibut. And there's still that eminent white sea bass bite. There is so much fish being metered by so many guys. Maybe the Pride will get into it. Maybe we'll get into it on the Endeavor. Man, my fingers are crossed. On our departure on the Endeavor, it's going to be a little breezy, and then it turns into an absolutely lovely day. You're going to want, if you're fishing sea bass with us, or here, you want some of those pink or orange lead heads, and I would have them from, half ounce to an ounce You can even go a 1/4 ounce. You can get a variety of those things. That'll work. Those white flukes have been working really, really well on the halibut also. And in addition to that, you're going to want to have those Aki twist hooks. Those work really, really good, like a 5/0 hook with your live squid. You're going to dropper loop with that. Reverse dropper loop is what I should say. So again, the weather's going to start to straighten out. Today up in the Channel Islands, not much is going to get accomplished. It's a little nasty up there, blowing 18 to 20 plus knots, and some pretty big seas also. So it sounds like kind of a nasty day up there in that neck of the woods. Rock fishing up and down our coast has been spectacular with all the colorful, great eating rockfish you could possibly want, from the local boats to the boats fishing the islands. It has been really good. And also I should mention that islands like Catalina and several other places have had some really good bonita fishing on board. The Pursuit, the Freelance, those guys are running into good bonita fishing, and they're also able to provide you with some rockfish, which is fantastic. Really great stuff going on out there fishing the islands and surrounding areas. We'll get that bonita in here locally also. We've seen some of it. Some private boater catches have been made, and hopefully that'll continue. This is perfectly fishable if you're a surf fisherman. I had a feeling I was going to come down here. It was going to be way too windy this morning and maybe even raining again. But, you know, I mean, the wind is backed off since I've been standing here blabbering on, and it's really nice right now. You make a cast with a chrome crocodile here, and you are likely to catch a nice yellowfin croaker. Hopefully that is the case. Hey, Eric Lee was out on the Pacific Queen here recently, and man, he had a great trip. He had 7 bluefin tuna himself. And just to give you the breakdown on how Eric caught, just to give you an idea of how you have to be really ready to attack these bluefin on different levels. He had 2 fly line fish, 1 knife jig fish, and 3 sinker rig fish. Or I should say, on the sinker rig. So Eric Lee, good job back when they were biting a little bit better than they are right now. But as I said, that's temporary. That could get on the bite here in a couple of hours, and we are hoping it will do just that. September the 8th, we're on board the Apollo out of Seaforth Sport Fishing in San Diego. A few spots left there, and a couple of spots on the Apollo out of 22nd Street Landing. That is a 2-day trip departing on May the 31st. You can join us. All you got to do is send me a text. I'll send you the info on how you can get on either one of those great trips. The September 8th trip out of Seaforth, or the May 31st departure 2-day extravaganza on the Apollo with Friedman Adventures. So that should be great. 657-227-6459. All right, Endeavor, we are a go. The weather's going to be fine. It's going to be breezy, maybe a little bumpy on the way out, and it might even stay that way, just a little breezy, till 9, 10 in the morning, and man, then it just goes. The wind gets out of the equation, and we are hung on white sea bass and having a lot of fun. All right, have a great day, everybody. It's always good to spend time with you. Another morning briefing in the books. Anything else happens today, I will be letting you know. As always, it's a pleasure to spend my mornings with you. I'll take a swig of this cold coffee now. Wish you a great day, and I hope to see you really, really soon.